Oh, we are going out with a bang. I tell you. Happy NFL draft week. Happy grown man Christmas. It is here. And today, we are going to be doing a 5 round rookie mock draft with landing spots for all 7 rounds using Dane Brugler's 7 round mock draft. I went through this already. Yes, I rehearsed it. I didn't want to mess anything up. Okay. I didn't want to do that. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm already seeing it's not a big deal, but I'm going to change the title real quick. PPR. There we go. And with the power of technology and editing, I have changed it. So you can see the landing spots at the bottom. We have round 1, 2, and 3. Don't worry, as my voice cracks. I will put up round 3, 4, or 4, 5, and 6 and fill you in with 7 once we get there. But let's get this started because I don't want this to take all night. And it's very simple. It's going to be Ashton Genty here. I don't know if I need to talk about it. In his mock draft, he has Ashton Genty going to the Jaguars. I think he would be the starter there regardless. I don't think ETN gets in the way or Tank Bigsby if that's the pick. Again, that's according to Dane Brugler. Let's go with Omarion Hampton at number 2. In this world that we are living in Dane Brugler's world, kind of like Wayne's world, except Dane Brugler's world, he has Omarion Hampton going to the Broncos in the first round. Absolute smash landing spot with Sean Payton and that offense with Bo Nix. Love that. And so now I think we go with the quarterback and we go Cam Ward. And I'm not the biggest fan, but if a quarterback goes at the number 1 overall pick to Tennessee, and then, oh, by the way, later on they get Luther Burden as well to pair with Calvin Ridley, it's not a terrible situation. In fact, it's an okay to good situation for a rookie quarterback, offensive head coach. I don't hate it. And Cam Ward is probably the only quarterback in this draft that I feel confident enough in to take this high, as evidenced by the rest of the picks. Now it gets interesting. Now we have some real decisions to make. And the first real decision we're going to make is I'm going to take Travis Hunter. And I am betting, okay, I've gone full circle on this. If you've been watching the channel, you know that I was all in on Travis Hunter. I said he was the best receiver in this draft, hands down. And then everybody on Twitter came out and said, oh, he's going to play corner. He's going to play mostly corner. He's not going to play much wide receiver. And now the rumors are, well, the Browns are going to draft him. And the Browns view him as primarily a wide receiver. And if they do, that means, I get it. The quarterback situation is up in the air, but he, in my opinion, not only is the wide receiver 1 in the rookie draft, but I think he could immediately make an impact on that Browns offense. So again, Travis Hunter as my wide receiver 1. Let me know what you think in the comments. 104. And we're going to go right away to Tedro McMillan. Not back to, because we haven't drafted him yet. If he gets top 10 draft capital, as is the case here, as Tedro McMillan goes to the Saints, I don't love the landing spot, but in the quarterback situation's up in the air, so who knows who the quarterback's going to be. Derek Carr, is he going to go review cars for the rest of his life? I don't know. But if he gets top 10 draft capital, I think he pairs well with Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. It's a little crowded there and a little uncertain, but I like it enough to take him in the top 5. And now, and this was a real struggle for me because wide receiver top 10 or probably my favorite running back in this entire class, Trevion Henderson, going to the Bears. Can we please make this happen in real life? Because if it does, I'm going to be a very happy man, because I don't love the Bears getting Tyler Warren here. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not big on this. I'm not as big on this tight end class as some other people, but I can't deny that it would be exciting, right? And the Bears getting Tyler Warren and Trevion Henderson with their first 2 picks in the NFL draft, that would not only be exciting for fantasy, but I would have to be excited, even though the Tyler Warren pick does not leave me feeling all warm and fuzzy inside. So we are through the first 6 picks. Let's go straight to running back. Quinshon Judkins. If he winds up with the Cowboys, I mean, forget about it. Quinshon is, I think some people that are putting him out like in the lower at number 10. Some people have him at 10. I don't agree. I think Quinshon Judkins is really, really good. I have him as my RB5 right now, and if he gets this just absolute monster landing spot with the Cowboys, you have to take him in the middle of the first round. You just have to. So we're going to move to the 108, and I have to say, if Matthew Golden gets drafted in the first round by the Dallas Cowboys, he fits perfectly there. He does. And I could totally see this happening. We'll see. He's not the first receiver off the board, but he's the third if you count Travis Hunter as a wide receiver. So I absolutely think he belongs here, and I think that's a smash landing spot for him. So we'll move to the 9th pick. Tyler Warren, this is where he does come off the board begrudgingly, because as I mentioned before, I do not love this for the Chicago Bears. But if they commit to Tyler Warren, who is better than Cole Kmet, Tyler Warren becomes the security blanket for what's going to be a good offense with a good quarterback who should bounce back in year 2. Even though he didn't have a terrible year 1, I mean, considering all the chaos that was around him. So Tyler Warren here in a tight end premium league feels like the right thing to do. Now, this might be controversial to some people, but I'm going to throw up Emeka Egbuka. And I know some people are going to be screaming at me. Shedeur Sanders winds up with the Steelers in this mock draft. But I have to say that I love this landing spot for Emeka Egbuka, and I love the prospect, and I would absolutely take him in this spot over the quarterback. Yes, I do not like Shedeur Sanders. I do not. So that's how highly I think of Emeka Egbuka and how lowly I think of Shedeur Sanders. I think the Washington Commanders would be just an amazing landing spot. So that's the rationale for that. Landing spot plus talent equals success. Now we're going to go straight back to the tight end position, and Colston Loveland, if he gets taken in the top 15 and gets a landing spot like he does here with the Colts in a tight end premium league, I think this has to be the pick. This is about where he's going to go. And now I will throw up Shedeur Sanders because he does get round 1 draft capital. He does go to a situation where he could start right away in Pittsburgh. So we're through round 1. We did it. Okay, we're on track. All right, that's about the time I want. So let's get right into round 2. We're not going to waste any time, and I'm going to pick Luther Burden. Whoever is at the 2-1 here has to be doing cartwheels, getting Ashton Genty and Luther Burden, because Luther Burden winding up in the second round with the Titans, it actually isn't horrible. I mean, some people might not like it, but you get Cam Ward, a rookie quarterback. The only real target competition is Calvin Ridley. So it's not a bad situation, really. It's a little bit better than I think people think. I haven't crunched the numbers yet, haven't gotten into my redraft projections, but I would imagine that there would be a decent amount of targets available for Luther Burden, even if you project him to be the wide receiver 2 in that offense. Let's move on down. And similarly, the Omarion Hampton, the guy who drafted him, is going to be thrilled to get Caleb Johnson. And Caleb Johnson slips a little bit to round 3 with the Giants, but still, this is an amazing. I think he beats out Tyrone Tracy if this happens. It wouldn't just be right away. I think it would be an eventual thing. I think Tyrone Tracy would start as the lead running back, but eventually Caleb Johnson and his talent would overtake Tyrone Tracy in what would be a shared backfield. I mean, similarly, not totally the same, but kind of similarly to how Bucky Irving overtook Rashad White. Now, Tyrone Tracy's way more efficient than Rashad White, but I think that's how good Caleb Johnson can be in that offense. Now let's go to the 2-3, and now we're going to throw up some quarterbacks. Jackson Dart, who is my quarterback 2 in this class, but he falls to round 2 in a less than ideal landing spot with a convoluted quarterback room. Who knows if the head coach is long for the team. I don't love the landing spot, which is why he falls down a little bit for me. And then I'm going to throw up Jalen Milroe because I can't deny that Milroe, Winston, Russell Wilson is going to be a weird quarterback room. But if they take him, the plan would eventually be to start him, I would imagine. And it would probably also be a lifeline for the coaching staff and the GM, who are lame ducks. It would be a lifeline that they would throw out to the owner and say, hey, we just need to develop Jalen Milroe. He's our quarterback of the future. Let's go. And if that's the case, with the upside that he has from a rushing perspective, I absolutely think he's in play here. I don't love the prospect. I think if given time to sit, he can pay off, and that's what we're getting here. So we're moving on to Jaden Higgins now at the 2-5. Jaden Higgins in this mock draft. Let me just check if I can type his name in here right. Jiminy Christmas. Jaden Higgins with an I at the end. In this mock draft, he winds up with the Patriots. I think that's a really nice fit with Drake May. So and he fits, like, Stephon Diggs can play the slot. Jaden Higgins can play the outside receiver role really well. He reminds me of Michael Pittman. That's been my comp for him. So let's move to the 2-6, and we're going to take Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson has been my RB6 throughout the process. I love his upside from a fantasy perspective, and I really like the landing spot here in round 3 as he lands with the Steelers. And I would assume that he's at least in a timeshare with Jaylen Warren right off the bat. And I would assume that he eventually takes over the starting role. Like I said, I think it would at least be a 50-50 split. So let's go to the 2-7, and let's go Trey Harris. And in this scenario, Trey Harris winding up with the Chiefs, as I can't click on the thing right. I think that would signal that the Chiefs, Hollywood Brown's on a 1-year deal. There's some uncertainty surrounding Rashee Rice. I think that this would be a good move for the Chiefs, and I think it would signal that, hey, we have some competition for you now, Rashee Rice, and this would not be a good thing for him. But I think Trey Harris would likely play on the outside, freeing up some of those smaller wide receivers over the middle. So again, I like this fit quite a bit. Moving on to the 2-0-8, and Jalen Noel, he slips a little bit here for me because I don't necessarily love the landing spot with the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know what's going on with that offense. They don't really throw the ball a ton, and now he's in a receiver room with Marvin Harrison Jr., with Trey McBride, so I don't necessarily see a ton of opportunity for him right away. I do think he's an interesting fit. Like, he's going to play the slot, Harrison Jr. outside. I mean, I think he fits nicely. I just don't trust the offense really at all, considering what we got with Marvin Harrison Jr. last year. And again, the Chiefs give us some good things here with Cam Scatterbo. He's my RB10 in this class. My final rankings dropped on my YouTube channel. If Cam Scatterbo goes to the Chiefs in round 3, this is where he's going to go in your rookie drafts. He might even go earlier. And it's going to be interesting to see how he pairs with Isaiah Pacheco, because I do expect the Chiefs to still use Isaiah Pacheco a decent amount. I think it would be a timeshare, but I honestly, I don't think this is a really good fit for the Chiefs. I think that they would probably prefer a running back like Bashul Tutin or somebody like that. That's kind of who I'm polling for as a Bashul Tutin fan, as somebody who has him ranked really highly in their rookie rankings. But Cam Scatterbo, if he gets drafted to the Chiefs, you can't deny, at least I don't think, that he's going to be a high pick. And some people might even take him higher than this, like I said. So we'll move to the 2-10. And it kind of makes me, I'm begrudgingly making this begrudgingly, if I can speak, I'm making this pick in Tyler Shuck. Now, the reason is because it's super flex, because I understand Shuck gives us a little bit of rushing upside, and the fact that he's going in round 2 to the Saints, if when their quarterback situation's murky, right? We don't know what's going to happen with Derek Carr. He could start right away. I mean, it probably would be somebody like Spencer Rattler, unless I'm completely missing something. Like, that's how bad it could be. And if that's the case, the Saints would definitely need. Yeah, right now they have Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener and Ben DiNucci on their roster. So if they take Tyler Shuck in the second round, he would be competing for the starting job right away. And I think that if that were the case, the Saints would hope to tear it down and, get the number 1 pick overall next year. And maybe that's Arch Manning. Maybe it's somebody else. Who knows? And in a better quarterback class next year. So I wouldn't even take Tyler Shuck here if I were them. But this is, Tyler Shuck in round 2 to the Saints is what the landing spot is. So this is the pick. Again, not a huge fan of the prospect. I'm taking it because I get him snaps right away, or he gets snaps right away. Let's go to the 211. And the 211 is Mason Taylor. Mason Taylor, I like this landing spot. I don't necessarily love it for Mason Taylor. He winds up with the Jets here. And, they have a need at tight end. I think he's my tight end 3 in this class. So I like the fit. I like it. I don't love it. And he gets picked at pick 42. So that's really good draft capital. So let's round out round 2 with a surprising pick, Jalen Royals. He winds up with the Houston Texans here. And the Houston Texans, they have Nico Collins. We know Tank Dell is dealing with injuries. So Jalen Royals all of a sudden just fits really nicely into this offense. And we are through round 2. If you like what we're doing, give me a like. If you want more of it, subscribe to the channel. Again, we're going out with a bang here. And let's start off round 3 with a prospect that I'm not necessarily a fan of, but I can't deny the landing spot and the draft capital, and that's Elijah Arroyo. Elijah Arroyo in this situation winds up with the Chargers. Now, I would bet that somebody would take him higher than this. I would almost guarantee it. But I'm not big on the prospect. He didn't produce really until this year. He was dealing with injuries. I think he has a big red flag injury concern at the next level. That's just my opinion. So again, I'm not the biggest fan, but I cannot deny the landing spot is amazing. And let's go to Bashul Tutin now. We're dipping into the round 4 running backs already. And I won't quite put that up because we aren't through like rounds 2 and 3, but I will. So in Dane Brugler's mock draft, he has Bashul Tutin going to the Chargers at pick 125. I think they use him right away if that's the case. And getting him here in the 3rd round, again, he might go even higher than this. We saw some of those round 4 running backs, go around this same range last year. So Bashul Tutin is the pick for me. Next up is Jack Besh, a round 3 wide receiver that lands with Carolina. Love the fit. If he's the new Adam Thielen, or if he's the Adam Thielen replacement, I love that fit with Bryce Young. Let's move to the 3-4. And these tight ends, I think Dane Brugler is a bigger fan of the tight ends than me. And I would almost promise you that Harold Fannin would be drafted much, much sooner than where I'm drafting him, especially if he winds up with the Eagles in round 3. I would assume that they trade Dallas Goedert if that's the case. But if not, he might go a little bit later. But Harold Fannin, you can't take away what he was able to do in college. I mean, he led the league in receiving, or led college football in receiving as a tight end. I'm not the biggest fan of the prospect. I'm not the biggest fan of the film. I have Mason Taylor and this next tight end I'm about to take ahead of him. So, but if I can't deny if he lands with the Eagles, that's an amazing landing spot. And we're going to go Terrence Ferguson. Terrence Ferguson, like I said, I'm higher on Ferguson. I think I have him at tight end 4. I'm gonna have a video coming out with my official tight end ranking, so I'd have to double check that. But Ferguson in this mock draft, he winds up with the Broncos in a Sean Payton offense. Again, I love that landing spot. So Terrence Ferguson is the pick here. Moving right along. Again, we're basically just gonna dip into the round 4 running backs. And some of these landing spots really or the draft capital really disappointed me. And Devin Neal was one of those players. I'm a big fan of the prospect, but he slips to round 4, pick 131 to the New Orleans Saints. I would assume you'd have to wait a year with Alvin Kamara, but after that, Devin Neal feels like a really, really good replacement for him. So, and who knows, they may tear it down anyway. They get their running back of the future here. I like the pick for them, especially where they're getting the running back. So Devin Neal's the pick for me. Moving right along, we're keeping this flying here. DJ Giddens. Now, very disappointing draft capital, but the landing spot is absolute money with the Washington Commanders. I know Brian Robinson's in the way right now, but that really doesn't scare me a whole lot. DJ Giddens is explosive. He's going to be playing with Jaden Daniels and that Washington offense that was just on fire towards the end of last year. So I love the landing spot, and I really like the player as well. He's inside my top 12. I think top 12 rookie running backs. I'd have to double check. I don't have that pulled up right now, but I like the prospect quite a bit. Moving on to the 308. And we're going to keep it going with the running backs. And Ollie Gordon, if he winds up with the Raiders, I know it's round 4, but I like some of these running back prospects. Ollie Gordon had a really good 2023, a down 2024. I think we take the discount. He, in that Raiders running back room, he would have an opportunity to start right away. I don't really think that there is much debate about that. I mean, they have Raheem Mostert, Sincere McCormick, Zamir White, Dylan Lobby they drafted last year. And for a round 4 prospect, that's pretty good. Now, who knows? They might trust Zamir White a little bit more than maybe we think, but there would be at least a pathway to opportunity, and getting him in the 3rd round feels like stealing. Let's move on down, and we're going to keep it going with the running backs. And I maybe I should just throw this up real quick so you guys can see. We're going to go, let me just double check. We're going to go Jordan James here, who gets drafted by the Browns. So Brugler is basically saying the running backs are so good that they're hurting themselves in his mock draft because the teams are waiting on running backs. A lot of these guys are not going in day 2, but they're going really early day 3. So who knows? Dane Brugler's very plugged in. And if this is the case, I would just say this. I wouldn't panic because I like a lot of these landing spots. And Jordan James winding up with the Browns. Again, if you look at what the Browns have right now at running back, it's Jerome Ford, Pierre Strong. That's all that's listed on our lads right now on their running back depth chart. So there would be a pathway to opportunity for him right away. And again, we're getting him in round 3. You can make the case that we maybe should have taken him higher than this. We're going to go back to the wide receiver position, and we're going to take Kyle Williams. And I'll admit that Kyle Williams is probably somebody that I'm not as high as I should be on. And I'll admit if he gets drafted here by the Jets in round 3, I think again, I like the landing spot. I don't love it. There's not going to be a ton of passing volume right away with Justin Fields, but I think he complements Garrett Wilson there really well, and you can't deny the draft capital, I think. So I getting him here at the end of round 3, I think would be a responsible place to take him. Let's move on to the 312. I must have skipped one. Oh, I skipped RJ Harvey. Apologies. So RJ Harvey is taken by the Patriots in round 4. Again, you have Ramondre Stevenson there, but again, I think RJ Harvey is just a really good player. This is a bet on the talent, And if the Patriots take him, I think if they take him in round 4, I think he's going to have at least a backup role right away. And then we talked about Kyle Williams, so we'll move on to the 312, and this is going to be Damian Martinez, who winds up with the 49ers in round 4. We all know the uncertainty that comes with Christian McCaffrey. Who knows? He could be amazing. He could be just dealing with injuries again. So the 49ers, I do think it's a strange choice for them to take a running back like Damian Martinez, but I guess they've done things like that before. I guess they took Tyrion Davis-Price. That was kind of a head-scratching move, at least to me at the time, and the fantasy community just went nuts for that landing spot. Similarly here, I don't know, and I'll throw this back up again so you guys can see the landing spots. I don't know if he would slip this far, but this is probably where I'd take him. I like this spot quite a bit, or this landing spot quite a bit for him. So we will move on to round 4. And now again, this is another one of those picks where I kind of shrug my shoulders and just take the player, and that's Quinn Ewers. I'm probably not going to get him because I would promise you somebody would probably take him. He goes round 3 to the Seahawks in Brugler's mock draft. Sam Darnold playing with the Seahawks now. There's a world where Quinn Ewers gets snaps in year 1. Unlikely, but there's a world where Sam Darnold turns back into Sam Darnold. I mean, we saw it towards the end of last year with the Vikings, going from Kevin O'Connell to a defensive-minded head coach there in Seattle. Again, I know I'm spacing on who the offensive coordinator is, but he's coming from the Saints. I understand Clint Kubiak. I know he's got a pedigree, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to really help Sam Darnold or to take him to the next level. But we'll see. We'll see what can happen. And I would just say this: if Quinn Ewers does go to Seattle in round 3, I think he would have a pathway to some snaps in year 1. Just saying. Torrey Horton is up next for me, kind of nabbing. And again, who knows if these were the landing spots, maybe he goes a lot higher than this. But my philosophy, just some strategy here. I typically like to go, especially in this class, if I like some of these day 3 landing spots, I'm not going to be afraid to take some of these running backs ahead of the day 2 wide receivers, which is exactly what I'm doing here with Torrey Horton, even though he gets the landing spot that we really like. Now, Ladd McConkey's there. I don't know what they're going to do with Quentin Johnston. So it is a little crowded, you could say. They took Elijah Arroyo in round 2. So again, this is an explosive playmaker who produced at Colorado State, but and a player that I like. So, but this is, I think, where he belongs. That's just my philosophy. I take these shots on these round 4 running backs over a day 2 or round 3 wide receiver. So, but let me know what you think of that in the comments. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's move on to the 4-3, and we're going to throw up Trevor Etienne, and I'll throw up the round 4, 5, and 6 landing spots there. Trevor Etienne to the Bengals. That's interesting. That's very interesting to me because, Etienne, he's a little bit smaller, 5'9", 205, fast, kind of similar to what Chase Brown is for them. So I don't know if he would just serve as the backup to Chase Brown just in case something happens to him, or if that would be a timeshare. If you look at what Cincinnati has at running back, it's Chase Brown, Zach Moss. They still have Samaje Perine. Samaje Perine they just signed him. That's what that means. So if they took Trevor Etienne, I would assume that he would be the backup in this situation to Chase Brown. So I don't know if he would get playing time right away. But again, it's an interesting pick for Cincinnati to make. They dip their toe into the running back waters in round 4. And Trevor Etienne is the 403 here. Alec Ayumanor, this broke my heart a little bit. I'm not going to lie. He gets taken by the Packers, and I know some people. Why did I type in Packers? I don't know. I know some people might be excited for this. I would not be because that receiver room is already crowded. It's a round 3, day 2 draft capital that we're getting. But I mean, just go down the list. I mean, Christian Watson, Romeo Dubs, Dontavian Wicks, like Tucker Craft. They got Josh Jacobs out of the backfield. And I'm spacing on the other one that's obvious. So like I just don't know how he fits in there. And I don't necessarily think that Green Bay uses their personnel to the best of their ability, as evidenced by the snap shares that we were seeing from Jaden Reed. That's the guy that I couldn't think of. Jaden Reed. I mean, just go look at his snap shares, and I don't know. Matt LaFleur will forget more football than I will know, likely, but that doesn't make much sense to me. If you're a Packers fan, maybe you can explain it to me in the comments. And by the way, if you're a Packers fan, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Go Bears. We're going to be moving on to the 4-5, and I'm going to start taking some of these quarterbacks. Dylan Gabriel's been my guy throughout the process. Shout out to John Lobb, who really shined a light on him for me. And then I really dug into the film. And I think that if I was an NFL franchise, I would not be drafting a quarterback at the top of this year's draft unless my life, I mean, no, I would not be taking a quarterback at the top of this year's draft. I would be waiting a little bit, taking a shot on Dylan Gabriel, maybe taking a shot on Kyle McCord, who's going to be our next pick here. And I think you should take the same approach in Dynasty fantasy football in your rookie draft. Because Shedeur Sanders' tape, he doesn't throw with anticipation. He's average. He's an average scrambler. He's not going to give you much rushing upside. Personally, I like Jackson Dart better than him, but I don't really love either prospect. I don't love Jalen Miller. I don't like Tyler Shuck. And especially I don't like the prices even that I'm paying here. And like I've said, I begrudgingly am taking these guys because I can't deny, early round 2 draft capital and round 2 draft capital in the case of Tyler Shuck. I can't sit here and say that I wouldn't take these guys. I wouldn't take a chance on them because the NFL is telling us these guys belong in round 2. And in the case of Tyler Shuck and Jackson Dart, they would likely have opportunities to play right away. But, Dylan Gabriel, in this case, he goes to the Dolphins, which, if you think about it, he's a nice backup for Tua. I think he is. The college production's there. I think the tape is good. And Kyle McCord winding up with the Rams. Now, some people might take Kyle McCord ahead of Dylan Gabriel. They might think, Matthew Stafford has one foot, in retirement. But I like Dylan Gabriel, the player, over Kyle McCord. I do like Kyle McCord somewhat, but that's how I feel about it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Moving on to the 4-7, we're flying here, and let me just check here my notes. Gunnar Helm, again, this is another one of these players that I don't know if he would fall this far, but if he gets day 2 draft capital and he gets taken in round 3 to the Jaguars, that tight end room is wide open. I know Brenton Strange is there right now, but Evan Ingram no longer there. And you're looking at they signed Hunter Long, they signed Johnny Munt, but really you would think that if they take him in day 2, round 3, that Gunnar Helm would be a part of their plans. Now it's the Jaguars, new general manager, so we'll see, and new coaching staff. So I would feel pretty safe about that. But I don't necessarily like the prospect all that much, which is why he falls here. Let's go to Savion Williams. Savion Williams is a wild card, man, and I don't love him. I'm intrigued by him. He's one of these prospects I don't really know what to do with, and I'll admit he's probably going to get taken higher than this by somebody in your league if he gets round 3 draft capital and he goes to the Seahawks. But I don't know. I everybody has their weak spots, and I think the Savion Williams type prospect is my weak spot because I do acknowledge that he has a tremendous amount of athleticism, and he kind of reminds me of Cordero Patterson, a little bit of Debo, although I think that's an overbloated comp that some people are using. I don't know. I'm just not confident in that type of prospect, that type of wild card. So that's why he falls a little bit for me. And then I'm going to throw up Ty Felton. And again, I think Ty Felton is a really good sleeper, which is why I'm taking him. Ty Felton in this mock draft goes round 4 to the Jaguars. The Jaguars have some targets available. So I like Ty Felton. That's why, even though he's a round 4 wide receiver, he gets pushed up a little bit. Let's move to the 410. And the 410 is Jarquez Hunter. Jarquez Hunter, I know you can see it there, but I'm going through multiple screens at multiple times. Jarquez Hunter, round 5 to the Panthers. I actually think that that's a decent landing spot. I know Chuba Hubbard's there right now. He would likely be the starter, but Hunter is an intriguing running back prospect. And again, I think that some of these running backs are suffering in this mock draft, and this could play out in the regular NFL draft. We'll have to see. Jarquez is suffering here because he's in a loaded class, which is pushing down all these running backs to day 3. It's going to be intriguing to see if that happens. Brashard Smith is my pick up next. Brashard Smith going to the Bills in round 6. It's interesting. Like, on its face, you would say, oh, this good landing spot. And to a certain extent, I think that there could be a pathway to opportunity because I think he's similar to James Cook. Now, Ray Davis is there. Ty Johnson's there. So he's probably going to be the RB 3 or 4 on the roster. So he's going to have to work to get some playing time, which is why he falls all the way here. But again, I'm betting on the talent prospering in that situation. I like Brashard Smith a lot, and it breaks my heart that he's fallen this far. Let's go to the 412, and LaQuint Allen is going to be the pick. LaQuint Allen out of Syracuse going to, in round 5, to the Texans is very interesting. And you could probably make the case that I should have him ahead of Brashard Smith, maybe ahead of Jarquez Hunter. Because LaQuint Allen, like, if you take a look at the Texans, what they have in the way of him, Joe Mixon is there, obviously, but then after Joe Mixon is Dare Ogunbowale and Dameon Pierce. So you can make the case, LaQuint Allen, if he gets drafted by the Texans, should be a little bit higher than this, but I digress. Moving on, round 5. Again, if you haven't clicked like, if you haven't subscribed, if you're still here watching this, what are you doing? Click the like button, subscribe. We're going to try to get this done in under 50 minutes, so here we go. Round 5, pick 1 is going to be Jaden Blue. As my voice cracks, I don't know. I have this deep voice, and out of nowhere, it just reverts back to when I was 12 years old. I have no idea why that happens. I have absolutely no clue. If there's a speech pathologist, a voice expert out there, maybe you can coach me up on how not to sound like this every once in a while. It's not good for my professional career trying to be a YouTuber. I need to sound professional, not like I am struggling to grow facial hair, which I'm not, by the way. This did not take me 3 months to grow. It didn't. I promise you that. Okay. Jaden Blue going to the Minnesota Vikings. At least I think that's where he went. There's so many landing spots here. Yeah, Jaden Blue to the Vikings. That's super interesting because we know Aaron Jones is up there. And if you look what they have behind Aaron Jones, I know they signed Jordan Mason. They have Ty Chandler. I think he would slot in. I don't know. And who knows, an injury, something. But I like Jaden Blue, the prospect. I think he's got a lot of upside. And Minnesota getting him around 6 feels like stealing. It really does. So the next player we are going to pick here is Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. He gets drafted by the Arizona Cardinals in round 5, I believe. Yes, round 5 to the Arizona Cardinals. Again, similarly, I mean, Trey Benson's there, so he's probably going to slot in as the RB3 or 4. Round 5, we're taking shots on running backs. Will Howard is up next. Again, he ends up with the Raiders, and the Raiders bet on Geno Smith. Again, who knows what is going to happen here. I'm not the biggest fan of Will Howard, but I can't deny if he gets picked at the top of round 5 in a Superflex league, he should be rostered. Moving on to the 5-4, rostered in deeper leagues. If you have a shallow Dynasty league, like a 20-person league, I'm talking, like 30 player rosters. So deeper formats only, obviously. We're doing a 5-round rookie draft, so I would assume that you're playing in a deeper format if you're watching this. Maybe not. Who knows? Maybe you're just watching it because you're a sicko like me and you just like this stuff. All right, enough. We're moving on. The next pick is Woody Marks. And again, this is where, just from a strategic standpoint, I target the running backs that get drafted, and we'll probably take some that didn't get drafted, but I'm targeting the running backs, especially in this class, because we know that they've been pushed down the board. They've been punished for being too good. It's too good of a class. And Woody Marks to the Colts again. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor's there. He's going to be a backup, maybe a backup to the backup, but I like the prospect, and he does get drafted in round 6. So Taj Brooks is up next for me. I'm not going to lie. I just like Taj Brooks, the prospect, and this would be a very disappointing outcome for him in the NFL draft. I think he's going to go much higher than this. I know round 7 is not up here, but according to Dane Brugler, I believe he's picked in round 7, pick 253 to the Miami Dolphins. Again, that would be disappointing, but I would be willing to throw a chance or to take a chance on him. So this next player is actually not in the database, so I'm going to throw up a Jew. But this player is going to be, I think, if I can click buttons right, Jalen Lane I believe from Virginia Tech. Wow, I can't type either. A Jew. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why he's in here for under rookies only, but he's going to be the last player in round 4, taken by the Bills. Jalen Lane is the prospect there. Yeah, Jalen Lane from Virginia Tech is the pick. He winds up with the Bills here in round 4. We're going to move on. Again, placeholder there, a Jew. Jalen Lane is not in the sleeper database. Shame on you. Jalen Lane should be outraged. Moving on to the 4-6, and we're gonna pick Tez Johnson. Tez Johnson was a player that was, I think, heavily touted coming into the process, and then he was slow and small, but I don't think you can deny if he gets taken by the 49ers here in round 4, he should be drafted. He might have a pathway there depending on, or no, he gets drafted in round 5, early round 5, but I do, nevertheless, I think he should be in round 5. I think you can take a chance on him. I think that there's some talent there, especially from a route running perspective. Let's move to the 5-8, and this is a guy I'm just gonna plant my flag on him right now. He goes undrafted in this, but Marcus Yarns, maybe he winds up somewhere as a UDFA that we like, but Marcus Yarns, I'm gonna take a chance on him. I'm gonna stash him just in case my hunch is right. Riley Leonard is up next, drafted by the Colts in round 5. Quarterback in Superflex. You never know. There's a lot of uncertainty in that Colts quarterback room. So just taking a shot on a quarterback in round 5, I think you could do worse. 5-10, we are going Kyle Monaghanai. I totally butchered that. I'm not even going to try. he gets drafted here to the Falcons in round 7. And again, a lot is standing in the way of him getting playing time, primarily Bijan Robinson, obviously, and also Tyler Algier. But I think taking a chance on the running back here is the right move. Getting some draft capital, not basically the worst draft capital you can get in round 7. Let's see. Moving on. Let's see. Khalil Mullings, not Kyle Mullings. I almost called him Kyle Mullings. Khalil Mullings, again, round 7. You can't see it, but I will let you know that Khalil Mullings goes to the Ravens, a pick after Kyle Manang. I shouldn't have tried. Kyle Manangai. If that's right, let me know. I'm sure there'll be a pronunciation cop in the chat letting me know how to pronounce it. Apologies to his friends and family. And then with the last pick in this 5-round mock draft, I'm going with one of my guys. I'm going with the tight end, Oronde Gadsden. Yes, round 5 draft capital would be very disappointing, but if you take a look at what the Buccaneers have at tight end, they have a new offensive coordinator. It's Cade Otton and Peyton Durham, a round 4 and a round 5 guy. There's a chance that Gadsden could prove that he's the best player out of the bunch, and getting him in round 5, Mr. Irrelevant here in this draft, could prove to be a good pick. And I think that there's a lot of upside with Oronde Gadsden. Look at that. We did it. We did it in under 50 minutes. How about that? Let me know what you think of this mock draft. Like and subscribe. I will, just so we can get the full picture here. No, not that way. That way. So you can see the whole thing. There it is in all of its glory and all of its splendor. Let me know what you think. Click the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Happy draft week. I'm so excited. I can't hide it. I hope the Bears don't F it up. I really hope so. And if you're wondering how I can be a Bears fan and a Cardinals fan because I'm wearing a Cardinals sweatshirt right now, it's called being from Southeast Iowa, okay? That I'll just leave it at that. So again, thank you so much for watching. Be good, everybody. Have a great NFL draft. We'll catch it. This will be the last content. Well, I'll have a tight ends, a rookie and rookie rankings video the day after this. But that's it for me for content before the NFL draft. So happy draft day. Man, can't believe it's already here, but it's so good every year. So anyway, enough of me babbling. Thank you so much. See you later. Be good, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.